Welcome, my friends of the interwebs. Today we are talking about Attorney General Eric Holder, Attorney General of these here fine United States. Eric Holder, from this point on in the video, Eric Holder. You know what? Listen, a lot of noise is being made right now about Congress charging Eric Holder, the Attorney General, with contempt of Congress, which I'm all for. You know what? Charge him with whatever you can charge him with, because I think the guy's a POS. But I only want Eric Holder to be asked one question under oath. This is all it will take to make me happy in regards to Eric Holder. I want him placed under oath, and I want him to answer this question. Are you, or have you ever been, a member of the Black Panther or New Black Panther parties? Simple as that. Are you, or have you ever been a member of the Black Panther or New Black Panther party? I want him to ask that question point blank under oath. And the reason I want him to ask that question is because, in my opinion, that Eric Holder is a racist. Flat out. He's a racist. And Eric Holder does not like white people at all. And anything he can do to screw over white people, he will do. And anything he can do to give advantage to minorities or people of color, he will do, whether it's legal or not legal. Let me start by giving you some examples, because I know some of you are like, it's a little extreme. Eric Holder's a racist. Yeah, well, yes, he is. Let me give you an example. When he first became Attorney General of the United States, when he first took the oath of office and became the Attorney General, the first thing he did, oh, I shouldn't say the first thing he did, but one of the first significant things he did was to excuse or not prosecute, vigorously prosecute, the two Black Panther Party thugs that were outside of the polling station the night of the election, the presidential election. They were outside of the polling booth, and most of you remember seeing this on the news. You'd have to be living under a rock not to. But they were outside the polling booth with billy clubs, nightsticks, whatever, in an attempt to intimidate those voters who were there not to vote for for Obama. I mean, I don't know any other reason why they would be there with billy clubs, which is, by the way, huge violence. Can you imagine, had there been two Klansmen out there with billy clubs, and they said, well, we're just here to keep the peace. Those two clowns would have been thrown in jail quicker than shit. I mean, quick. But the Black Panther Party got a pass from Eric Holder, Attorney General. Okay, so that's the first example. Second example, when some of the states, especially the western states, were getting fed up with the Obama administration's complete disregard for our immigration policy or immigration laws. Now, that's not to say I'm not letting George Bush off the hook, because he didn't really do a very good job either. But we're going to focus on Eric Holder and the Obama administration. But when the federal government was not either capable or willing to enforce immigration laws, which, by the way, Eric, in case you didn't know, Attorney General is the chief law enforcement officer in the United States. Doesn't get any higher than that, other than, of course, the president. So, some of the states, like Arizona's a perfect example, had to take matters into their own hands. And what they did was they passed a law that basically mirrored the federal law, but the federal law that wasn't being enforced. And they made it a state law. That way they could at least enforce the laws. Because, when I lived out in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I can tell you that, illegal immigration has a huge negative impact on most of the communities out there, because they're not contributing to the tax base, but they're using all the resources, the roads, the schools, the hospitals. These are things that are paid for by tax money, and they're not paying that. Most of them the vast majority of them work under the table for cash. And a big part of that they send home to their families in Mexico. So that's it's a loss for all involved, as far as other than the illegal aliens and their families. So anyway, so the first thing that Eric Holder did was to sue Arizona. Eric Holder wasn't interested in doing his job or enforcing the immigration laws, but he was very interested in making sure that Arizona or any other state didn't get the opportunity to enforce those laws. Which, in my opinion, kind of racist. Kind of racist. He's a racist. That's all there is to it. So now we go a little fast forward and we see a situation where states are like, look, we're not going to have people that aren't here legally, that aren't entitled to vote. We're not going to have them voting in our elections. It's not right. It disenfranchises the people that have the right to vote. It disenfranchises American citizens. Okay, I love to use that word disenfranchises because that's the liberals' favorite word. So now you're in a situation where you've got states saying, look, we're going to have an ID law. I mean, you need to have an ID if you drive your car. You need to have an ID if you fly in a plane. You need to have an ID if you cash a check. So why wouldn't you have to have an ID to vote? Why wouldn't you have to be able to prove that you have the right to vote? Seriously. And the Attorney General's position on that was, well, it's a poll tax. You're asking them to buy an ID, that's a poll tax, that's illegal, which was, which was a crock of shit, but it did have some footing. It had some foundation to it. Because when you require somebody to spend money to be able to vote, it does amount to a poll tax, which was used in the past to prevent people from voting, and people that were allowed to vote. It was a horrible thing. But so what the states said was, look, okay, we will furnish them with identification, photo IDs. All they have to do is bring us their birth certificates and Social Security cards, whatever they have, and we will pay for their photo ID. We won't charge them for that, but they have to have a photo ID in order to vote. Eric Holder said, whoa, no, that's just too big of an inconvenience for people to have to do that now. That's racist. It's just so funny to hear the racist accuse other people of being racist. So basically he said, no, most people, especially people of color, don't have those things. What, don't have a birth certificate? Seriously? Now, when I joined the military, when I was 18, I don't remember what the deal is, but we had to go get a copy of my birth certificate, and I want to say my Social Security, or maybe it was just Social Security, I don't remember. So my recruiter took me down, and it was about, all of about a 20-minute ordeal to get that, which everybody should have that stuff anyway. Why wouldn't you want to have that stuff? You need that stuff through life. How did these people sign up for their welfare if they didn't have identification? Well, I don't even want to know the answer to that. I don't even want to know the answer to that. So, Eric Holder is basically suing the state, saying, no, you can't have no photo ID law, no voter ID law. That's ridiculous. And the people could prove that they can vote by bringing a utility bill. Well, last time I checked, the utility companies weren't in charge of trying to figure out if somebody was a U.S. citizen before they hooked up their electric. So, I guess apparently if you make it across the border and you manage to rent an apartment, and you get an electric bill, then you're good to vote. That's all you need to vote, So Eric Holder, everything he does has had a racist tinge to it. Everything he does tells me that he hates white people. Everything he does tells me that he wants to bring down the United States of America. Everything he does. So anyway, listen, back to the original question. The only question I want to hear Eric Holder say under oath is, are you or have you ever been a member of the Black Panther or New Black Panther Party? That's all I want to know. Under oath. That's all I want to know. Because I have a very sneaky suspicion that man was a member of the Black Panther Party. And I'll bet you anything that man is still a member of the New Black Panther Party. Well, one more before I let you guys go. Go to the New Black Panther Party's website. This is kind of an interesting point in fact. If you go to the New Black Panther's website, there's a photo of Zimmerman. And you all know who he is, the guy that shot Trayvon. And that photo has a rifle's scope crosshairs on his head. And there is them calling for, basically they put a bounty on him. Now they say that the bounty is for him to be brought in. Now this is previous to the, it's all the rest of the stuff. But they basically say that wasn't saying we wanted him dead. Well, why would you put a rifle scope on a guy's head if you don't want him dead? Why hasn't Eric Holder done the right thing? Eric Holder talked about investigating Zimmerman for civil rights violations. What about his civil rights violations? What about, the last time I checked, it wasn't legal to put bounties on people's heads, threaten death to them. Anyway, that's all I got. Listen, I'm going to let this go. In the comment section, let me know what you think. See ya!